Hello, everybody, and welcome to my channel. I have some lovely ladies with me today who have a big announcement. They have an incredible devotional that's going to be dropping on August 30th. And I'm so excited to have them here because I have been added to the street team of this book. And so it's been so fun to just see how it's all unraveling and what God is doing through what you guys are presenting. And it's just so exciting. So I'm going to let you guys introduce yourselves individually, and then we'll just get started. I have interview questions. I have some fun icebreaker questions, and then I have some let's get down to business questions. So you guys can just introduce yourself, and you can maybe talk about where you live, if you're where you work, all the things that you want people to know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fun. Who's going first?
Amy, someone talk.
Okay. I'm Amy. You can find me on Instagram or any place. Amy C Books. I'm a stay-at-home mom, 2 boys, live in Texas. It's finally not melting here today. Last week was awful. I'm married.
How long have you been married?
14 years.
Me too. Yeah. That's awesome. Yay. This is actually on our 15th year. So
okay. Yeah. We just celebrated 14. So we'll be, yeah. And I read a lot. You can kind of see,
I love that. Are those your bookshelves? Yeah, all of your stuff back there. I see it.
Yes.
I love it. It's very vintage, but also gothic looking. It's everything. I love it.
This is the only spot of my house that no one else gets to touch. It's mine. This is my space.
Amy's nook.
2 feet.
You gotta have. It's awesome. I love it. That's great. What about you, Kadee?
All right. Well, I am Kadee Carter, and let's see. I have a young adult science fiction series. I have a slow-moving brain, so words are fun out loud.
I have that problem. For me, it's my brain moves faster than my mouth. I have the opposite.
Yes. I can write it down really good. Out loud, I sound like a robot. I don't know.
I like that too. I feel like I sound better written.
Yeah. So, I teach English, literature, and creative writing with Liberty University Online in all my spare time. Yeah, it's a great place. I teach group fitness at a local gym. I live in Texas, Central Texas, and it is nice and toasty.
So you're for fitness, what specifically do you do? Cycling? Do you do I don't know. I don't even know what kind of workouts there are. That's how bad I don't work.
So I am a Les Mills certified group fitness instructor. So I teach body pump, which is strength training. I teach core, which is core from your neck to your knees. Body combat, body balance. It's yoga, Tai Chi, Pilates. I do a step class, and I do a low impact fitness for not seniors, but for people who want a little less intensity than your
class.
Fast strength training.
Low impact. I love that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I do, or I have done Beachbody in the past, which you'd be an excellent coach. I know Wendy, my friend, she does that as well. But it's just consistency, right? To be people who do fitness or writing, you have to be consistent. And that's my favorite word. I don't know about you guys, but are you very consistent? Because I'm not.
Yeah, it is all about consistency. Honestly, that is what I have found. It is day in, day out, making time, even if it's just 5 minutes. That is the factor. Yeah. Consistency and persistence.
Yes. 2 words I'm not very good at, but we're learning.
We're learning.
We're doing it. Which hopefully, when I get your devotional, I'm going to be consistent with that because I have been needing a very good devotional. I think it's Gretchen Saffles. I don't know if you're familiar with her, but she did a devotional called Well-Watered Women. And that's the last devotional I really committed to. And so I need something new and exciting. And I love even just the title of your devotional because I feel it sounds very deep. of atoms and oceans. And I'm like, that sounds so cool. So I'm so excited. Well, let's dive into our interview questions. I'm going to do some like fun icebreaker questions just to get to know you guys a little bit better. Obviously, we're headed into fall. Does anyone feel like they just dropped summer? Like August doesn't even matter. Like they're just like, oh, it's August, fall. Like, we
Yeah.
didn't even get the last month of August. It's not fun. But what is fall's favorite season?
You go first this time.
Okay. Well, I summer. I really do. I like the heat. Like
Me too.
I'm a little crazy, but I love the heat. So I'll cook all day long. That's okay.
Because are you like a pool beach person too? Like you like to be in the pool, you like to be at the beach. You're out.
So the sand. I like the idea of the beach. I love the sound of the beach.
That's what my husband says. He's like, I like the way it sounds or like the pictures and whatever, but being there is awful.
Yes, like I prefer like walking on the beach at nighttime.
Yes. No, I agree. I like that better. It's very, very nice.
Yeah.
What about you, Amy? What's your favorite season?
Well, in Texas, we don't really have seasons. It's just hot
It's just
and less
summer.
hot. And my soul like withers away in the heat. Like it's like dormant. I don't like it. So I grew up in Colorado, and so like fall is still my favorite. Like just when that like the air starts to turn and leaves change. God has blessed us with one tree in our yard that actually changes in October. Like the leaves change in October. And it's just like a little like, oh God, you know that I needed this because everything else is still green or dead. And so
We're dead.
so fall, if you just give me cold weather so I can eat soup and drink my hot coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally feel you. I love that. I am like Kadee. I'm a big summer girl. I love, just running around, pool, hot weather and all that. But like I don't love fall, but I accept it for what it is. And I'm like, it's nice. Like I like the fall aspects. I like watching Gilmore Girls for the 15th time. I like pumpkin spice things coming around in scents. But yeah, it's just like for me, it's just gloomy and dark. But Texas, it's never like that, right? Texas is always pretty, like I've been to Texas many times. I feel like it's like either sunny or overcast. You got like two options, right?
Yeah, it does get gloomy. Like it gets gloomy, like just rainy, like well.
Yeah. So, but I like it. If we were gonna move anywhere, which I don't know why you moved from Colorado. My husband, he went on that
school, and Texas just kept me.
She got to Texas as fast as she could.
Like Colorado is so beautiful though. Like just Texas has its own charm, but I do feel like it is very hot all the time.
We tried to move back to move to Colorado, but my husband as a teacher would make way less and everything costs so much more. We're like, no.
That's right. Your husband is also a teacher. Does he teach at a high school, college?
Yeah, he teaches at a high school.
Okay, that's awesome. And what is his thing that he teaches?
He teaches inclusion and remedial math. So he teaches everything between Algebra 1 and anything between like geometry and Algebra 2, or like kids need an extra class, but they're not ready for that. And so
like my math level. Remedial. That's so fun. I love that.
Yeah.
Also, I would like to mention, so I am a new YouTuber. We don't have like a lot of numbers right now, but people are at work and they're going to watch back. So I feel like we're going to share. We're going to get this video, lots of views. It's going to be good. So what is y'all's favorite guilty pleasure show, TV show? Because I know as readers, we're not like big TV watchers, but we all have that one show that we've watched a million times, or we don't want anyone to know we watch.
I don't watch it anymore, but that's because I don't have the streaming service. I used to watch The Bachelor and The Bachelorette like every single season. Like
100%.
I absolutely loved it. And I would like rewatch it too. Like before we got to, it was ridiculous. But now they took it off. And so,
I love
that.
And
And then like, it's not really like anyone it's not really a guilty pleasure, but like I can watch Hallmark Christmas movies all year long.
I
I love
can't
them.
try so hard to know how it's going to end. The big city girl is going to dump her big
But
city.
see, that's the
makes all
nice,
the
cozy
money.
feeling about it.
The lumberjack guy who makes no money and
Yeah.
you in high school.
True, but
It's like everyone's like, you know, if nothing mattered, if like stability didn't matter, if careers didn't matter, this is who I'd be with. That's like every Hallmark.
yeah. I mean, yes, but they're still cozy and fun.
They are so happy.
My husband's always rooting for like the boyfriend that gets left behind. And he's like, he's just trying to build generational wealth. And then she's leaving him for the stable hand. So fun. I love it. But I also
That's wonderful.
am a reality TV person, so I get you. What about you, Kadee? Are you a reality TV person?
I feel like I just, if I like it, I own it. I don't have any guilty.
To watch the drama that goes down on Love is Blind and Love Island.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, like I've been getting into documentaries recently. Like I just binge watched the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders documentary on Netflix. That was just like I was hooked from the start.
Everybody loves that. I need to binge watch that because I started the first episode.
I enjoyed it.
Keep going. And my favorite pastors, just really quick, my favorite pastors to watch online is Robert and Taylor Madu, and they are from Social Dallas, the church that like visited the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders.
Nice. That's so fun.
Yeah, it super was. So that's great. But those are great shows. I love that.
I just dig it. And like we started watching, my family has recently gotten into Formula One racing. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's my. And
don't know many people who are, so that's really cool.
It is really fun. We really enjoy it. And so we were caught up on the season and we were just like, what's this? There's a documentary on Netflix and it's Drive to Survive.
I love that.
It's fun.
It's really good to know everybody is so different, right? Like I could sit and watch, like, I don't know, girls basketball or girls soccer all day. And then some people hate sports. Like everybody's just so different. Yeah. It's fun to like hear about it.
Yeah.
What about you guys? You're big writers, your book girlies. What are your favorite genres that you're currently into right now? Your favorite genres of books, or maybe one that like is just something you're getting into for fall. I know fantasy is a big deal for fall usually. What are your favorites?
So I don't know.
Fantasy.
That's hard. I'm going to answer first. I think that mine really, I love a good human interest story. Mm-hmm. So kind of nonfiction, the stories of people
like true crime.
Hey, true crime. Yeah.
I love that.
So that's what I've been kind of into recently. So
like just nonfiction books about people's life, their journey, things like that.
Yeah. Recently read a book about Elon Musk and his like the road to SpaceX lifting off.
My husband, you guys would be best friends because my husband literally loves Elon Musk. Like he's the smartest man in the world. He's so great. And he would totally read a documentary or like anything about him.
Well, he's a fascinating dude. Like he's always doing something interesting.
It's true. And I feel like he just gets so much crap for like he's so intelligent and he's so successful, but he gets a lot of crap for it. So fun.
Well, he thinks differently than so many others too. It's like
and his idea of wealth building, he really believes in like giving back. And so when you look at his life, and he was talking about when he was building up his fortune, he like lived in his office building, like in his office, he lived there for a while. And I'm like, if I was like a millionaire, I wouldn't be living in my office. But he's like, I don't care about all the material things. He wants to create something good for the world. And I'm like, that's what people need to be like.
It's pretty awesome. Yeah.
I love that. What about you, Amy? Let me get sci-fi, fantasy, YA genre.
Pretty much. I have found like I can only read so much YA fantasy sci-fi before I'm like I need a little bit more, which I still love it. Like I will read anything YA, but I really do love anything sci-fi fantasy. whether it's YA or adult. And then I love contemporary romance, historical romance.
I
Um,
love historical romance and contemporary too.
yes. And then like it depends on who has recommended like the mystery thriller book. Like it takes a very specific person for me to know, okay, I can pick that up and not it'll be okay, it'll be fun. So
I hear you. They're like it's
yeah.
like you have your YouTube people for each genre
Mhm.
that you watch. You know, like you're like, oh, this person they're really good at this recommendation. And then some other people you're like, I would never take the recommendation on this, but maybe on romance.
Yeah.
I love that. What about last icebreaker question?
Okay.
What is your favorite, or who is your favorite author? That's really that's a hard one. Because
Really
I feel like it's really hard to narrow it down. I actually do have one.
Okay.
Mine would be Rebecca Searle because I really like magical realism and I feel like she writes really deep. And then I also have been finding that Julia Whalen, who is an audiobook narrator, she's like a vocal narrator. I love her writing as well because she just recently started to publish. And so those are mine. What about you?
Do you want to go, Kadee? Do you
I
have
can.
any?
I'm easy. I am old school.
She's like myself.
Madeline L'Engle is my favorite author. I'm on a journey to purchase all of her books ever published. I think I have about half of them.
That's incredible. I love that.
But she's got so many books, and so I'm just buying them up.
That's what I want to is like to have all of my favorite like books from my authors like lined up, keep them forever, get them signed.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Okay. We're gonna have to go by genre. So historical fiction.
I feel that.
I just can't narrow it down. Historical fiction would be Tamara Alexander. Her stuff is so good. And she is one of the nicest people I've ever met. Like she is so nice. And then
just live up to the hype of being
let's
good.
see here. Basically anyone that's on this shelf is a favorite.
All at like 30 of them. 30 authors are my favorite.
Let's see. We'll just go with her because like I really do like literally like anyone that's on this shelf is someone that I would be willing to spend my money buying a book of theirs if I haven't read it because I have a really hard time buying books if I haven't read it or read something by the author.
Yeah.
And so these are ones that like okay, I will buy their book, whatever they put out, I will buy their book.
Like
so,
auto buy. Like
yes.
That's how I feel about I think. Well, Riley Sager probably would be like my number one like thriller writer that I would just auto buy, and I think he's great. And it's like you have one of those, and it's not like everything he writes is great, but you'll always give it a try because you really like that author.
Yep.
So I totally feel that. That's amazing. And then Sarah Adams would be like my romance author auto buy. So we all have those people, and I love that.
Yes.
Also, so anybody here in the comments, go ahead and get your questions ready. You can ask them questions about their devotional. You can ask them questions about anything, honestly, whatever you'd want to know about their writing process, publishing process. Just go ahead and you can start putting the questions down in the comments. But we're going to start now on your journey of your almost released book, and it's so exciting. I saw the cover today because I'm on the street team. It is beautiful. It is like steampunk kind of. That's what I was telling Amy.
Yes.
At first I was like, I think that their cover is just going to be the black one, and I loved it in the font that you guys chose too. I was like, oh, it's so pretty. But then you just drop this big ball, and you're like, oh yeah, this is going to be like the new cover, and I love it. It's incredible. I think you guys did so great. Now, which one of you designed the cover or had the most say in it?
Ish. I had a lot of help from the robots.
I hear that. You know what though? My husband was like, people don't use enough AI for stuff. Like they should just like, any cover you want, anything you want, it's copyrighted because it's like coming from your mouth, like you're telling it what to do. So yeah, AI covers.
Well, it was like I gave it lots. Like I prompted and then got a thing. And then my husband is like, he is a graphic design genius, and he finalized it and made it look really good.
That's amazing. I love this. This is so great. Well, I think that is so fun too, that when you're a publisher, when you're a writer, you get to kind of just, you're so close to the creative process and you get to make it exactly what you want. And I totally messed up an idiom. I was like, you guys dropped a ball. I meant to say dropped a bomb with the cover. Like, you dropped a ball. That is not the right idiom. That's hilarious. It is bomb. It's so pretty and that's amazing. So that's great for you guys. Now, how did you guys meet? I guess that would be like the first question. How did you guys meet and what was like your conception of this idea together?
Okay, well, I'll answer how we met, and then Kadee can answer the other. So, we met when we were 18. We went to the same college. We were in the same, like, freshman orientation group, and we lived like right down the hall from each other. And then we were roommates for 2 years. And
you guys are close. I didn't know that you guys were so intertwined in each other's lives. Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah. Katie's one of the only people that I text every day, multiple times a day, of all the boring and ridiculous things.
And I love it. Same back.
That's Wendy for me, which, by the way, she couldn't be here because her daughter is sick. She had COVID recently, and then I think her daughter's sick as well. But yeah, I'm like that with Wendy, just like whatever is Monday, whatever is whatever, you know.
Yeah.
Text them about like, hey, I'm watching Marco Polos in the shower. like, whatever.
And they understand and they're excited.
Like, oh, you're Marco Poloing in the shower? Probably not a good idea. And I'm like, yeah, probably not. And one of these days I'm going to send someone a Marco Polo. They're not going to want it. But I do. I watch them all. So yeah, just anything. I love that you have someone that you can text about whatever happens today.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So the question is, where did the idea of the book come from?
Yeah. What brought about your idea to start a devotional? Like, I guess this could be like 2 questions. Was there something else that you guys had wanted to write first and then you came to this idea? Or has it always been like, we're going to get together and do a devotional? That's it.
Whew, okay. It's a big question.
That is a big question. It's like 5 questions in one.
Okay. So I'll see if I can stay on track to answer it fully.
I get it.
In 2017, I was in MOPS, which is now the Mom Co. Yes. And it was a very important element of my life because it was the friends that I had. It was the community that I had. It's what got me through the day. It's what got me into group fitness. It is the people that I'm around now. That was the group. And we did this challenge that was a 28-day challenge where each day there was a truth or dare. So yeah. So from that, the questions that we went through in that, we had a little Facebook group. And so every day for 28 days, we would answer either the truth or the dare that they would post that day. And that experience really stuck with me. And it was very impactful because all of the questions were focused on intentionally living and fully experiencing being alive in your life.
And what like a sample of like a truth or dare would be like. That's so interesting. I love that.
Yes. So how do So a sample of a truth or dare, like the dare would be go smell some flowers. And that's your dare for the day. And then the truth is something like, what is your favorite flower and what's a great memory that you have associated with it? You know, things like that. So it's not like a truth or dare that's like risky. But, just to get you out of your comfort zone.
That's great. I love that. And so that impacted you in a lot of ways. Like how did it give you an idea?
So that experience just really stuck with me. And about a year ago, my mom died. And
I feel you. Same my dad.
Yeah. Coming out of that was just really hard. I really couldn't write, couldn't do a lot of things. Everything felt broken. So writing is how I deal. You know, it's like that's the thing that brings me back whenever anything's crazy up here.
Yeah, it realigns you to yourself, kind of. I
Yeah.
feel that.
Yeah. So as I was trying to just like, okay, what could I even,
Yeah.
I got nothing. So that just kept coming back, that experience of those truth or dare questions.
Yeah.
And so I went back and looked at all the different ones. And then I started thinking, and I realized like I started thinking it, but I know that it was God prompting me through all of this. So I'm like, here's a road. Let's go this way. And it was just one thing after another of, I contacted MOPS and asked, could I get your permission to use some of these questions for a devotional that I'm working on? And they were like, sure, go for it. And I'm like,
amazing. Well,
thank you.
I love that you did that, because I always think to myself, like, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. Like if
Yeah.
there's something that's good that we can bring to light, like that's awesome. Like everyone's like, I hate how a book that I love has so many other quotes from other people. And I'm like, but would you go out and seek out those quotes and find them? Like they've organized the information for you. I love that.
Yes. And as I was working on it, because I was trying to, what I really liked about the experience was the community and coming more alive in my life from the truth or dare. But I thought, to really have a lot of impact, let's explore what the Bible also says about these various things. And I started collecting verses that were either impactful to me or applied to when I changed it from truth or dare to risk or reflect, because that's a little alliteration there, a little wordplay.
I love that, because you had a connection with it. It helped.
Yeah.
That process made you be more introspective about yourself, and then you could use that same process to be introspective spiritually. I love that.
Yeah. And so I had written a couple, and then I got like major stuck. And I was like,
wow.
And I was taking a walk, because that's how I process. I take long walks and I listen to music, and just the thought kept going, this would be a lot more fun if Amy was involved. She would know what to say with this. And then I was just like, this would be more fun if Amy was involved. Oh, message her. because honestly and truly, I do have a series, a young adult science fiction series that 6 books, five or six. There's 6, and through most of those, Amy has been like my constant like cheerleader and support. That she always has wisdom when I'm like, I don't know what to do. She's like, just do this thing. You got it.
She's like that in every group, because I was a part of all these Marco pillars with her, and like I feel like she's like that. She's just so encouraging.
She is. She's so encouraging, and she always has like this like very logical, just do this thing. You're like, well, why didn't I think of that? You're brilliant.
That's a very good perspective, and I love when you can bring something to a friend and just get a different perspective, and it just really helps.
Yeah.
Like, that's awesome. I'm glad that you were able to like collab.
Yes.
Yeah, well, and I'm really glad that she was willing to come on board with it, because like I'm special.
I feel you, because like I love writing, but I feel like I would need like someone pushing me. Like when I first started, my story is a little bit similar to yours in a way, because like I lost my dad in October 2023 to cancer, and it was very hard, and I was like lost. I felt like everything I loved lost all of its joy, and I just felt like I couldn't find meaning or peace or happiness in anything. And so that's around the time where I felt like I kind of went deep diving into books, like I can kind of escape my reality. And it was like at first like maybe like an unhealthy escapism, but then I found like this really great vibe. I'm like, this is a hobby. I really enjoy this. This is something that's giving me joy. And my friend, I was like, she started a YouTube channel, Wendy's Inspired Reads, who's in the comments. And so like when she started it, she encouraged me, like Amy, encourages you, gives you a different perspective. Because at first I was like, why would I do this? I'm going to fail. I'm not going to be good at it. I'm going to be awkward. And if you go actually on my YouTube, the first couple of videos, it's like, I'm so awkward. And I'm not like my personality. I'm like trying to be like very prim and proper. But like you always need that friend, right? To push you towards your goal. And so Wendy just kept pushing, and she's like, where's your video? Where's your video for this week? Where's your video? I'm like, and that's what you need. You need someone who is like trying to also do something on the same path as you. Like you're both trying to write, but you're like not in competition. You're like rooting for each other. And that's awesome. But segueing from that, is it hard being close friends and like almost like very lifelong friends in a way, because you've known each other for many years? Has it been hard to collab in some ways? Obviously, we're not perfect and we all have different ideas. Has it been something that you've had to like overcome a few like creative differences? Like, I think it should be this way. Oh, maybe this way would be better. Has it been hard working together or easy? Because we know, Christina, Lauren, they're best friend duo writers, authors. Yeah. Has it been an easy process, or would you like to be candid and share? Always isn't easy.
No. I think like it's so different because we don't live in the same town. And so it's all like over a text message or email, or sometimes it's like we've done FaceTime. And so I wouldn't say that it's like been uncomfortable or hard. There have been times where I'm like, I really don't like this. Like there's been some like reflecting risks. I'm like, I really don't like this. And Katie's like, but this needs to be here. Like, but what if we said it this way? It's like, no.
So Katie's more of the like, she's got the practical side, like the editing skill, and you're like, because I always feel like it's two people, right? There's the dreamer, and then there's like the person who has the plan. So it's the visionary writer, the editor, and the person who maps it all out. So do you feel like you have complementary roles in that sense, that like one of you has maybe more of like, I'm the writer, I have more of a vision, or the other person's more formatting, or is it just both of you?
Well, I don't know. I feel like we have a lot of very similar abilities and skill, honestly. And like that was actually part of why I was excited to even ask her about it, because I know how like picky I am about some things. But I was like, I know how she writes, and it really, I feel like our writing would complement each other. And there have been some of the days in here that I'll go back through the editing. I'm like, I don't know who wrote this. And that's good. I feel like that's good, because I feel like that she has a good way of expressing herself, and that like I think that our writing really complements each other, and that our giftedness complements each other, because she'll catch some things that I didn't catch, but I'll like
I love that. I feel like, just in regular life, me and Wendy, we do that as well. Like we're both on the worship team at church. I'm the worship leader and she's on the worship team as well. But like there are things that we complement each other in, like whereas she is a prayer and she's a prayer warrior and she knows what like direction God is moving in on stage all the time. I'm more of like the singer, like I'm trying to get everybody, like I'm more of I want it to technically go well. And so we like feed off each other's energy, and we both have something to bring to the table. And I feel like that's kind of like you guys, like you're both like bringing your gifts and you're honoring God with them, and you're finding a way to just weave it together into something incredible. And I love that God uses people with different abilities, but when you bring it together, it just shines. And so I think that's really great for you guys. So obviously we haven't gone over, I quickly said the name of your book, but why don't you just go ahead, either one of you, and introduce the name of your book and how many days the devotional is and kind of what inspired the name.
Go for it, Katie.
Well,
okay, so the title is Adams and wow. I know the title of our book. Go for it, Katie.
One time somebody asked me what my daughter's name was, or not my daughter's name, but her age, and I blanked on her age. Like, I feel like there are simple things that, like, when someone asks you point blank, oh, what,
Well, as they get older too, it's like, well, I don't know. It keeps changing. So the title of our book is Of Atoms and Ocean. It releases August 30th. It is a 35-day devotional. So if you are a person who is needing a new devotional or is a person who likes a short devotional in the morning, this one will help you out for either 5 weeks or 7 weeks. So if you just like a short devotional and you're on your morning at breakfast, you can go for 7 weeks on your like weekday. Yeah. And then if you're a dailier already, that's like props to you, and that'll go for 5 weeks. And again, like I would hope that it would help anyone who is needing something fresh and new, and that is pretty quick and not too. It's really not in depth. It's more of a light reading. You don't have to get out your dictionary or anything.
Not as sciencey as it sounds.
Yes. We do talk some science in it, but it's definitely not like, oh, I don't understand any of the words in here.
It's more of like everything that God, like everything in the universe that God created, from the atom to the ocean, is kind of encompasses like where is God and what is he doing and how is, like, and so it's like when you're looking at your life, if you remember, like God created the smallest thing, so then whatever I'm dealing with, he's going to help me. And
I love that. So you're kind of like comparing two different sides, like, like the smallest issue in your life, God knows and he sees because he's even worked on something that's small, but even the vastness of like the ocean, even the bigger problems, even the bigger picture, God is in control and sees how it all works together. That's awesome. Yeah. I have the cover pulled up. I don't know. Am I allowed to share it?
Yes.
Go
ahead. Yes.
Yeah.
So this is the cover. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's beautiful. It's like Christmas meets steampunk. It kind of looks like these are bulbs. And so,
yeah.
Here we go. Amy, you can read the title of Adams and Ocean. I love that it's a bite-sized devotional. My issue with all devotionals is that they don't realize that we're moms and we're people who are busy and all of that. And so I think it's really good. And I say this to everyone, having realistic expectations when you go into God time, because I feel like we get this idea that we have to like go in like 2 or 3 hours at a time and have some kind of emoting, like crying or whatever it might be, or some crazy awesome prayer. But really what I love about your message is that I think that you said in the description, you want to find God in the mundane things, like every day, like how can I meet God? How can I do it in a scale that will meet my life and my expectation? Because I know I'm going to not be, so skilled and so great at like being consistent. So I love that it's like a devotional that can meet you where you are and just give a greater picture of who God is. And so in my questions, I guess, if you could, what do you think that God wanted to communicate to people through your devotional? If you could put it into like a thesis statement or like a sentence, like if you could sum it up of like, what does God want you to hear through this devotional? What would that be? And you can take a second and think on that. And I'm just going to race through some of these questions and comments. This is Wendy, my bestie. Hey, beautiful ladies. Sorry I couldn't join hosting. I'm coming off COVID. She's been very sick.
Man.
But I'm so excited to hear you guys talk about your book. I'm so excited too. It's so fun. Tara, hello. Yes, she's from our book bestie group.
Yes, she is. Yeah.
So excited for y'all and can't wait to get the devotional. I know I'm ready to. Hope you feel better, Wendy. Hi, lovely lady. So excited to hear about your devotional. This is my friend Tammy. I think Tammy was a part of the Book Besties group maybe at one point.
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, Tammy is a part of, like, we have a cozy besties group. We talk with her daily. Oh, wow. I love Les Mills workouts. I just definitely hit her up on some info about that. I have taken a few body pump classes at my local Y, and they are tough. Also, Wendy is a Beachbody coach if anybody wants to hit her up for that. Colorado is where I've always wanted to live. I thought it was Montana. I'm confused.
My brother and sister-in-law lived in Montana for 4 years, and we went and visited them during New Year's, and they had like 4 feet of snow, and it was like -15. I'm like,
oh,
I like cold, but that
That's a lot of cold.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
My husband specifically went there to walk around and hike in the winter, like for the cold, through the snow, all of that. Like that was his goal. And I was like, that's awful.
They did say the
It's
summers
nice
were
in the
good.
summer.
It stayed light until like 11 p.m. And so they would go hiking at like 10 p.m. It's like,
yeah,
Well,
exactly. And he would do all that. And he's like, I love it. This storm, there was a snowstorm and we were like hiking in it. And I'm like, you're weird. Sorry, there's a bit of an echo. I'm not sure where it's coming from, but bear with us. We'll figure it like comes and goes. Have you both wanted to always write, or is this new? I guess we'll let you answer. This is kind of like an easier question to answer before the big hard one.
yeah.
Have you grown up thinking of it?
Yes. I have always been a person who's telling and sharing stories. It's always been the way that I could really figure out what was going on in my heart or my brain. But I've always loved it.
Well, you said like it's a way that you reconnect with yourself, kind of like when you
Yes,
lost
absolutely. Yeah, and I earned my Master of Fine Arts degree, and I just love it. It is like the writing and communication. They're the grand puzzle that it's just fun. It's like this big puzzle you get to constantly work with and explore.
See, that's what I wouldn't like, because like I think about writing, you have to come up with a plot and all of the different like clues, and if you're doing a mystery, you have to come up with how it unravels. I'm like, I don't know if I'm that good at that.
I think you need a certain kind of brain for that kind of story. Yeah. I love reading a mystery or watching a mystery show, but man, I've tried to write a mystery and it's like
it's very, you have to almost be like deviously minded.
yeah.
What about you, Amy? Did you grow up wanting to be a writer?
Yeah, I remember like we had our family computer in our computer room, having my own little like story I'm typing, and it's terrible, but whatever. And then there were times when I was like, I'm just not smart enough, I'm not good enough to do this, and then I was like, no, I'm gonna write this. This is what God has called me to do.
You hear that, Wendy? Wendy's good enough to write.
Yeah, and like really just God reminded me, like, no, like if I put that passion in you, I'm not just gonna like give you a passion and a purpose and not actually give you the tools to do it. And also just reminding myself, I don't have to be Tolkien. I don't have to create my own language and create all of this to have a good fantasy. Like, Tolkien's up here. Everyone else is down here. We don't have to raise to here.
Yeah, he was just special. Like, nobody is as good. No, you know what? And some people, they actually have said that, like, God gave them ideas like that. Like, if you think about like that, Tolkien's like, okay, is that Lord of the Rings, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's like, it's such a large story, and people say God gives them that vision. So like you said, God equips you with what you need. I think that's actually a really good thing to just kind of rest on it for a second, because there are so many people that I feel like don't understand. Like, if you have the passion, it's there for a reason. And a lot of us, we overlook and we're like, we can't be good enough, or we're not going to do it enough. But if you step out and you start doing it in the direction that God wants you to, it's going to, like, all of those giftings are going to bloom and blossom even more. And so I feel like that's really important to just, if God's called you to do something and you have a passion for it, seize it and go for it. I love that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. Let's see. I don't know why we have such an echo. Can you, Amy, is it possible that it's your headphones? Maybe if you want to unplug and plug back in, we'll see if that works. I don't know. It's never happened before in mine, so who knows? It could be me. Wendy said, I also did mops. It's how I survived with my first. Apparently it's not your.
Yeah.
It must be my computer. I don't know.
Is that better?
Let's see.
Is it still echoing, or is it better?
There's still a bit of an echo, but I don't know where it's coming from. So we'll just vibe with it. We'll just jive with it. It's totally fine.
I'm going to put my headphones back on because I can't really hear.
Go for it. You go. Go for it. I also did MOPS, and that's actually how I met my best friend Megan. So I love MOPS is the best. It's where I feel like it connects a
It's a
lot.
game changer. Yay, it's on Amazon. Good. I haven't had a chance to check Amazon yet.
That's awesome. Let's do it right now. I love it. I'm going to check Amazon for you and just see. Isn't it like, how does it feel, guys, to see your book on Amazon? I know with my father-in-law, when he saw his book on the Barnes & Noble website, it moved him deeply.
Yeah.
Like, what does that feel like to have that accomplishment almost out in the world? Like, it's so close.
It still really hasn't like become real to me. Like, I don't know. Yeah, like it hasn't really hit me like, oh, it's not just something that I helped a little on. Like, I actually,
You were like huge on.
yes. And so,
It's on
Yes.
Amazon!
I love it.
So it just hasn't hit you, like it hasn't, the weight of it, like how big it is, it hasn't.
Yeah.
It might start hitting you more when people start responding and reading and they tell you like, this changed me, this helped me. Like I recently read, we were talking about grief, Kadee, and I read a book called The Edge of In Between. And I can't remember the author's name right now, but it was a book about basically like walking through grief. And I wrote the author and I told her, like, gushed to her, like, how much the book meant to me, and she wrote back and she was like, I never get to hear like how things are for people when they read it. Like, thank you so much. And so I feel like when you guys get those feedbacks and like those comments, it's going to be so great for you. The cover is gorgeous. Yes. Like Montana or Colorado. Aw, Ryan.
She's our friend.
Love that.
Another college friend.
Yes.
That's amazing. I love it. And then Wendy says the echo isn't that bad. You guys are good. I love it. All right. So back to our question.
Oh yeah, I forgot we were supposed to be thinking.
Kind of hard. I mean, I feel like when you're on like live, it's like it's hard. You got to do so many things. I've been on like book discussion groups where they'll ask a question, then they'll go around and come back, and I'm like,
What was it?
Yeah. So, but yeah, basically, like if you could sum up in a sentence or a thesis statement, like what do you think God wanted to say to people through this book, through this project? What would you say? It doesn't have to be like that format. It doesn't have to be a sentence, but like if you guys would, what's the message maybe you want to leave with people?
So when I was working on my sections that I did, the goal always came back to how will this make me courageous today? So that may hopefully it will leave a lasting impact, but also I would just hope for on the daily there will be even just one brave step that every reader can take for that day.
That's awesome. I love that. That's amazing. That's a really good goal. And I love books that push you out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
That's really important.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I was working on the days that I was working on, I just was thinking of like my close friends, Kadee or Ryan, who's here, or other friends that are in my life. Like, what if they were sitting in front of me and they were having a hard time? What would they need to hear? And how can I take this scripture and this risk and reflection and connect them in a way that's going to touch them and help them with whatever it is that they're dealing with. So I just hope that like when you're sitting down and you're reading, whatever day you are, like just know that if you need something, if you need to be talking with a friend, drinking coffee and help, like just know that that's where we were coming, like where I was coming from. And I think, Kadee as well, like we wanted, we wanted it to be something like
intimate.
And
vulnerable.
How can we help them through whatever it is that they're going through?
Yeah, because there's just so many times where you can't do big things. There's times when you want to be brave, but you're like, I got nothing.
Yeah, I feel you. Absolutely. What I love about what I think that the devotional will be like, because I haven't even gotten to read it yet. So I'm so excited. But what I think it's going to do for me, like I'm someone who I'm not very like introspective necessarily. And I don't really get that mirror and look back at myself and like, what can I be doing better? Like, you know, like kind of categorizing your energy, like, and adjusting it and all of that. Or like with my relationship with God, it's very difficult because I wasn't taught to be introspective and to look at, you know, like what would be the risk I could take or whatever. So it's like, it's very good to have those books that make you look inside of yourself. And I feel like it's really important to get to know yourself more and to get to know how you interact with God and how your relationship is and what you can improve on. So I think that's really great. Well, some fun questions about just like the writing process. And this will probably be directed more to you, Kadee, because I think you were the formatter, sort of. Did you self-publish, and what was the publishing process like for you? Was it easy? Because a lot of people, they want to write, but what hangs them up is the formatting and the publishing, because it's a lot. It's daunting. Or is it not? We don't know.
So nothing about publishing is easy. Just toss that idea out the window.
Liberty University professor. Then it's easy. Or have a Kadee in your corner. Have you in it?
Yes. Yeah. So, like, for my whole writing journey, like, so I was able to be published by a small publisher called Clean Reads. They put out 5 of my books, the Alliance series, but recently they went under and closed their doors. And so I got all my rights back and all of that. And what's really challenging is that once your book has been published, it is incredibly hard to get republished again by another publisher. And so I did send out some query letters.
In a way.
What was that?
Is it like territorial in a way? Like people are like, well, if they publish, then we can't have that. Like, is it? Or is it more just like people don't want to take a chance on you as much if you've already gone with another author or another publishing company?
You know, I'm really not sure what it is, because I had gone to a conference and talked with several publishers or agents, and they sounded very interested. But then in sending it, they were just like, no, we're really not looking. It was weird because they would always pass it on to someone else, and it's always somebody else who's saying yes or no, other than the person you talk to. And they were like, no, we're full right now. We're not accepting anyone who has been published. We're not doing republications. So I'm really not sure. I think it might have to do with, I don't know, Amazon's really kind of challenging with books that have been out.
I've heard that too. But it's also just difficult, like when you get rejection, you know. I think it was, you guys probably know who Lisa TerKeurst is, I would say. So she, in one of her books, she talked about how she went to like over 25 publishing companies and they all turned her down. Yep. And some of them even made fun of her writing style. Some of them even,
that's not okay.
How simple it was or whatever it may be. And so when you think about the great people who've made it, all of these little things, these walls and obstacles, like people are like, oh, God gave me this great gift. Well, sometimes you also have to fight for it and almost like persevere through. But think about the life and the work you wouldn't have out in the world if you didn't do that. So pushing through is so important. And I think that's great that, you know, even though you've had trouble, you're still like.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is, like, with the media the way it is now, there's so many people that you can reach in person through social media or at in-person events, that it's really, you know, God puts you on your own journey, and it's not always the journey you were planning for, but it'll be an adventure.
Absolutely.
So hang in.
It will be. And I think it's just so fun to, like, once you get all that hard work out of the way and you actually have that, it's eternal. Like, it's always going to be out there. And like, I think about like J.K. Rowling, who wrote Harry Potter. Well, it's a generational book. Every generation that raises their children, they're going to introduce them to that book. And so if you think about, like, when God gives you a task, it can become a generational thing. Like,
Yeah.
this is a book that encouraged me. This is a book that encouraged me. And it just keeps going on. And so I feel like when it's out in the world, it's like it's on the internet, it's never going away.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
just the thought of that is so awesome.
Yeah.
But so
Absolutely.
if you guys, so we'll try to wrap up around like 9-10, because I know you guys are busy ladies and you probably have a lot going on. But what would you say to encourage like new writers, maybe people who don't have a lot of time to write? Like, what would you say to them if they thought about like starting the process of like writing and publishing? What could you say to encourage them?
First of all, like if you really truly feel like God gave you a story, gave you a purpose, gave you a passion, then don't ignore that. If God
Yeah.
has given you something, don't ignore what He's asked you to do.
Yeah.
Even though if it doesn't even make sense, you're like, I don't even know how it's going to work. Like
Yeah.
with writing, it's like, okay, well, how am I going to take this idea and make it new? Like, okay,
Yeah.
well, if God gave me this idea, He's going to help me make it new.
Yeah.
But on the practical side, you're going to hear everyone say, well, to be a good writer, you have to write every day. You have to read every day. You have to do all
Yeah.
of these things. I'm like, no, no, you don't.
Good.
You
That
just
releases you from
like
the
if
pressure.
if that's what you feel like you need to do, if that's what God has told you to do, okay, I want you to write every day for 10 minutes. Then
Yeah.
don't ignore what He's called you to do and
Yeah.
what He's told you to do. But if it's like, okay, well, I'm a mom or I'm a student or whatever it is that you have, like I
Yeah.
don't have hours every day. Like I have 5 minutes every other day, then take those 5 minutes and
Yeah.
write. And you'd be amazed like how much you could actually write in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And how that like that 1,000 words here and there, it adds up. And so, and then don't give up when you reread what you wrote and you're like, this is terrible.
That's me. I'm
Where
like,
am I? How am I going to make this good? It's like, okay, well, you have the foundation.
yeah.
So go back and like, how can I make that better? Um,
Oh,
and then just
that's me.
yeah, and then just know that rejection is going to be there. But it goes back to, okay, if God gave me it, then
Mhm.
He's going to make a way,
Yeah.
and I just haven't gotten there yet.
Lisa Turker says rejection is redirection. It's
Yeah.
not, it's just God like, no, not that way, this way.
Yeah.
So that's really great. That was encouraging because you know what? That's me. I will start to write something and then I'm like, I'll come back to it later. Like even if it's a week later, I'm like, no, what was I thinking? Like that was so not articulate and whatever. And
Yeah.
I think that's the hardest part is you think that like getting an editor and publishing and all that's going to be hard, but really like getting it past yourself
Mhm.
is the hardest part.
Yeah.
But what about you, Kadee? What would you say to encourage anyone in the writing process?
So I would say definitely be willing to take some criticism, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard, and be willing to learn as you go.
Mm-hmm.
Find your strengths and find your weaknesses, and be willing to hang in there when it's really hard. Like a lot of people give up and give in, especially when they are given some criticism. And I know that as a teacher of English, because constantly, students will be like, you said this about my writing, it just makes me want to give up. And it's like, okay, so this isn't that I'm saying that you're bad. This is saying that you can fix this to do better. And it's not so much that a criticism is that you're stink and you're terrible, you need to stop right now. It is, this can be improved. So here's a tip. Try to use this and see how you can use it to help your story, help you communicate better.
Yeah, that's great.
It can be really hard to do that for all of us.
Absolutely. I mean, we are our own worst critics in every scenario, which, we just got to rise above it, and it's hard to do. Yeah. Well, for a fun question, really quick, who are your favorite? You can either choose like 3. You could choose like who's your favorite inspirational speaker, or maybe your favorite Christian author, or maybe the type of church or podcast that you might watch or listen to that inspires you in your walk with God. Where do you get your strengthen your relationship with God from? Who inspires you guys? That's a hard question. I feel like for me, I just like there's so many people. Like when you think of someone that's in the same maybe field, writing like you guys and trying to get the word out that God is good and God loves you and God sees you right where you are. Like who's been doing that for you guys in your personal life? And that might be a hard question. And if you don't know, I mean, that's totally fine. We can move on to the next one. But I know for me, I try to like, that's been kind of one of the things I've been challenging myself with, because I'm like, you know, I'm a worship leader at my church. And so I'm like, I'm always giving and always like pouring out what God has put in me, but then I need to be putting something in me to have something to give. And so like, I'm like, where can I better source what God needs to speak to me and what inspiration I need?
Yeah.
That's a hard. You could even make it simple. Like, what is your favorite worship band? What do you like when you were writing? Did you turn on some worship that you're like, this is great?
Well, one person that like I've been following and she's an author is Nadine Brandis. Like she like her books are great, but like her writing process and because she's a mother of 4 or 5 like young children and just like how she has allowed God to come into her writing, like how she allows God to use her and how he works through her and gives her time has been really encouraging. And it just, she also just has like flipped the script on what it actually means to be a writer and a Christian and a mom and all these things. It's like writing doesn't come first. Like, you know, God comes first, then her family comes second. And then writing is what she finds time, you know, but then she's still successful because she's still following what God has called her to do. So it's just really been really encouraging.
That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, I have 3.
Sweet, I'm ready.
It was 3, right?
Yeah.
Oh, the instructions.
You're like the teacher's pet here. You're getting like the A++.
3. Okay. So, a Levi Lesko has written a couple books.
Love him.
And they really spoke to my heart so much. Yeah. And Like a Lion is one of his, and there was another one that had pictures of cards. I can't remember, but it was so good.
Yeah.
And
I think I know what you're talking about. I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, it's Levi Lesko. I was Googling while y'all were talking.
Oh, you know what? You're perfectly allowed to do that. If you guys, I'm always like, you know, I have my phone up all the time. I declare war.
Yes, I declare war. So good. Oh, that one was so very good.
That's awesome.
Highly recommend. Yeah. So his books are some that I have really appreciated having. Then Toby Mac, man, I love his music.
My mom.
We got to see his concert like a year and a half ago. That was so good. It's called the Hits Deep Tour, and man, it really did. Like
that's great.
Deep. I got his music on repeat, and I just love the fact that even amidst losing his son, that he continues to stay steadfast in his faith.
Yeah.
I just love that. That is such an inspiration as an example.
Speak Life is my favorite song. I love it.
Yeah. And then another, I hear the echo now. It's funny. I wasn't hearing it. Anyway.
So weird.
But my pastor, actually, David Bryant, he's a very approachable guy. And every Sunday, there's just something that really speaks to me. And there's probably influences of it in our devotional, because he'll say something in a way that it's just like, that gets me thinking. I'm just so grateful for that.
Yeah, I love when God gives like your pastor is like your shepherd, like he gives him that way to guide you personally, and it's just that's such a great feeling. You know, Levi Lesko, his wife also wrote a book, and we did that. We actually read her book for our women's discussion group, and I'm gonna look up and see what it is. But it was also very good. And if you don't know about Levi Lusko, it was called the Fight to Flourish. This one.
Oh.
That's great.
He actually did also lose a child to a very severe asthma attack, and they were not able to resuscitate her. And it's just so it's very good. We get inspiration from like our life, and it's great that you were able to use the grief and loss of your mom to channel this positive outcome where you can put all of those emotions towards something that God can use your pain. I forget I forget her name, but there was a lady I listened to recently. She said, when God says the word restore, it's like he's restoring everything. He'll take what was the narrative of what was happening, and he restores it, and he paints a new narrative. And so when she thinks of the word restore, it's that God is taking that pain and he's redirecting it into a new story. And I was like, that is so cool. That is good. Kind of like what you've done. Title for your next book. But to end the amazing night, because you guys are so much fun, I have two sort of fun questions. The first one would be, how are you going to celebrate when you release your book? Like, do you have plans on like getting on, FaceTime, and you guys are going to celebrate in some way, or maybe meet up and celebrate together? Anything?
Oh,
a launch.
We haven't even talked about it. But
do like a launch party or something. Live stream it on Instagram.
Oh, that's a good idea.
You should do a launch party, and you just like live stream it on Instagram. People can come on, ask questions and stuff. I think that's so fun when people do that. When authors like get on live, and then everybody feels extra special when their name is read on the live.
That's true. Absolutely.
Like, to answer Leah's question, and you're like, oh, yeah. That would be so fun if you guys had something.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, we haven't really. Because we don't live close. Like, we live close enough that like it's possible, but we also both have two kids, and
you'll just go to the same restaurant in different towns.
Right.
Yes. Like, we're at Olive Garden. Let's pop open.
We could do like Starbucks.
I love that. That's gonna be so fun. You guys should make something for yourselves to like solidify that, like get an Etsy shirt made with the name of your book, something like just to commemorate it. It's going to be such a great day for you guys. Like, And then my next fun question would be, do you guys have any more writing plans together or individually? I know that Amy's been working on some stuff. You already have a series out, but do you have any more collaborative plans, or is this like the first of many devotionals? We can.
We haven't. We've been like so focused on getting
laser focused.
Like, really.
There's a future. What?
The future past the 30th. What?
Yeah, exactly. It's like the 30th. This is it.
Today the world will end. Today.
My hope is that like this, doing this with with Kadee has been something that has really like helped me like reignite my creativeness, and like sparked a new, because like it was after the conference we went to last year, and getting the no's, and it's like, where do I go from? I've been working on this thing for so long. Where do I go from now? Where do I go from here? And so I'm just hoping that like maybe now I can actually have the motivation to finish this book I've been working on for 11 years, and
you can do
something with it.
Like,
I'm not opposed to writing something else with Kadee, but it's like, again, like we've been like for the past like 3 months, like this is really been like, okay, we need to be serious about this. We like, I just remember Kadee like texted me like one day, it's like, okay, let's actually write this devotion and let's actually do something about it. Let's get it done. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, because we had just been like not doing it. It was like, we need to actually work on this.
And that's so so great that you like, you got it together. You could do it because like I do that with my friends all the time. We'll have all these ideas and we're like throwing them out into the ether, and like until you actually make the steps and start the process, and now you guys know how great it can be when you actually like get to fulfill what you're supposed to do. And I think it's so fun. But thank you guys for joining me. It has literally been so great. You guys are such bubbly, fun, sweet people. And I just love that God is using you in this way. I feel like this is going to be a huge impact. And I feel like this is going to be a huge impact on the book community too, that you guys are already a part of, because I feel like there needs to be more God in BookTube, more God in the Bookstagram sphere, and, just more options to lift him up. And so I thank you guys for doing that for all of us. I'm going to be promoting your book. Once again, it releases on August the 30th. And do you have like a time specifically that it releases?
Well, you could technically go and pre-order it now.
Okay.
Anywhere that you want to buy your books, Barnes Noble, Amazon,
Yeah.
all these other places.
Yeah,
So
anywhere you buy a book, it is available.
That's amazing. I love it. Well, I'm going to link all of that in the description after I post the video and everything. And I'll like get all of the Amazon links down there. And if you guys wouldn't mind, go ahead and send me what you wrote, Kadee, your series, and I'll link it below too. And then all of your social media. And that way anybody replaying can watch back and like find all of your stuff. But thank you guys so much for joining me.
Thank you.
And I just think that it's going to be great. So keep your eyes open. It is going to be August 30th. And so go straight and pre-order right now. But we'll see you guys next time. Maybe we'll have them back to discuss their young adult series.
Yeah.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. We're going to end the stream.
Okay.